began, the protesters called for reform. Today, as the name of each atrocity and massacre carried out by the Assad regime is called out, the crowd call for the death of the president by hanging. These protests are taking place every night in Homs now with apparently unabated enthusiasm, which is impressive, not least because they've been going on for 7 months now, and so little has been achieved. But this, I'm reminded, is not the point.
I haven't seen anything like this in my life. The old, the young, women, everyone calling for freedom in Syria. This revolution will win, inshallah.
The army has encircled Homs and attack every day. People tell you they have rats but no food. Water, power and communications are cut off in the areas where demonstrations take place. I was taken to meet Mohammed, one of the soldiers who was ordered to attack the city.
We were ordered to kill everything that moved, everyone who was walking in the street. There were children. We were being ordered to kill our own people, who at the end of the day are our own flesh and blood.
Only on Friday the protest takes place during the day after midday prayers, and the army always attacks. In a network of field hospitals, doctors prepare for the inevitable casualties. They can no longer take the injured to hospital.
To our astonishment, we found that when we did that, the injured were either arrested or killed. A man would go into the hospital with a treatable injury to his hand or to his leg, and his family would be summoned to collect a corpse with a shot in the head or in the chest.
Homs may boast the title of the capital of the Syrian revolution, but it has cost them over 1,000 dead. But they say they're winning. We'll carry on telling Bashar al-Assad to go, one protester tells me, even if he has to kill every one of us.
Well, for more on what it's like inside Syria, I was joined by Sue Lloyd-Roberts earlier. I asked her how determined the protesters are to carry on demonstrating.
Very determined, and this is something that I find so extraordinary, that there they are, they've been demonstrating for 7 months, over 3,000 dead, over 1,200 in the city of Homs itself, where I am, where I've been. And really they've achieved very, very little, but the point they make, the more deaths there are, the more determined they are to go on.
You say that they've achieved very little. Do they think, when they talk to you, did they think that they would be able to overthrow the Assad regime?
They say they're winning. They say the whole people are against Bashar al-Assad now, and he can't last much longer. Things are slowly going on their side. The Arab League has suggested that Syria really has got to stop killing its people and given it a 15-day ultimatum. The Syrian opposition have now got themselves together, and there is an opposition party that could be a credible alternative to President Assad. And then while I was there, as you saw in the report, I met a lot of soldiers who've defected from the regular Syrian army, who've joined what they call the Free Syrian Army. And they say they are now going to defend the protesters and start attacking the Syrian army.
So you're one of the very few journalists to have got into Syria, and it's been part of the problem that we haven't actually had much reporting out of the country. You were also there earlier during these protests. What difference did you find in the country between your visits?
Two things, I think. One is that when I was there before, in June, the protest was far less vehement, if you like. They were still prepared to go along with President Assad if he were to introduce reforms. This time they are completely disillusioned with the man because he's killed so many of them, and they're calling for his death by hanging. And secondly, when I was there last time, they didn't want any kind of international interference or help. They'd seen what was happening in Libya, and they were frightened of the same thing happening in Syria. This time, I heard a different plea. Please help. They want Russia and China to support the UN resolution against Syria. They want Russia and China to be forced to stop sending weapons to Syria. They want a much more determined effort by the international community.